There is a 99% chance you're selling wrong, and I know this because I closed 771 agency clients and collected over $5 million in cash, and I wasn't following any traditional sales strategy. This is my scalable selling system. It's a process that you build one time, and after you do, not only will you close more deals, but you build a repeatable process for your team to eventually close deals for you. And in this video, I'm going to give you the full process breakdown so you can just steal it and start closing deals with it right away. And trust me, this isn't like any process that the gurus out there are showing you. And I know that because it actually works. Let me show you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Sweet.
How's it going?
Going good. Thank you. How are you?
It's going great, man. Excited to chat. Appreciate you hopping on. Does that thing straighten out your posture? Is that what that's for?
Yeah.
Dude, that's cool. Where'd you get that?
I got I don't know if you've heard of or seen the chirp wheels.
Okay.
They straighten your back. They stretch your back.
Okay.
To help with like back pain and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is genuine curiosity, by the way. If you're doing rapport building or you're asking somebody questions, I do think this is an important part of the call, which is actually before you set frame and before you dive in. I just have genuine curiosity about what is this apparatus that this kind gentleman is wearing on his back. So this is genuine face of curiosity. By the way, this is not fake.
That's cool.
Yeah. Also, I also have this other little thing. It's
that goes on your back, right?
Yeah, they're not right.
Yep.
But technology can be a little finicky sometimes, so the analog sometimes a little easier to manage.
I get that, man. I get it. Well, excited to chat, man. If you're cool, we can just kind of dive straight into things. If you're cool with it.
Sure, go for it.
Come on. So
this is like the pre-frame. You just ask them for permission to proceed. This is pretty straightforward. You just say, hey, is it cool if we go ahead and dive in and get started? After a little bit of rapport, this is probably like 2 minutes into the call, and then we dive straight in.
really what I want to do today is just learn a little bit more about you, kind of what you have going on. And if I feel like we can help, I'll just kind of walk you through our process, show you what it would look like to get our help with things, and potentially talking about ramping some things up with you. So if that's okay, I guess probably the best place to start would just be kind of what you got going on, how did you end up 2021 in your business, and just kind of give some context and background.
Well, I just got into real estate.
So that's a bit of everything at once. That's me setting frame, but that's also me asking the first question. So I'm basically saying, hey, what I want to do today is learn a little bit more about you, your business, and what you have going on. If I feel like we can help you, I'll show you the whole process behind what that would look like. And then just diving straight into the first question, which is, how did you end out 2021? What's going on? Why are you here? That kind of thing. So really what you're trying to achieve here in the frame is basically help them understand. This is a one call close, right? My intention is to close this person on this call. What you're really trying to have them understand is, I want to make sure we can help you. If we can, I'll show you exactly what we do and what that would look like. And if we feel like we're on the same page, we can talk about getting started. And then you can start with your first question. But a lot of times that frame in and of itself is actually going to allow them to just go ahead and dive straight into the discovery because they understand exactly what's going to happen. So frame is super important. I would also even add in, if you do have a guarantee, I would say, hey, what I want to do is first and foremost, make sure we can help you. The reason that's important is because we guarantee everything that we do. So I don't want to try to bring you on board unless I know that we can absolutely help. And if we can, I'll show you the entire process, what that process would look like. And if we both feel like we're on the same page, we can talk about getting started. Does that sound cool? It's a very simple way of doing it that works extremely effectively. I, to be honest, was taking so many calls that I would get kind of lazy at times. This is not how I would set frame if it was my only call of the day. But when you have back-to-back calls, you get a little lazy at times, as you can probably see from my face here.
Got licensed a couple months ago. I've just been working on getting everything set up. I work with Windermere. I don't think you guys have Windermere where you're at. For sure, just a West Coast thing. Yeah, I hung my license at the Windermere office out here, and I've just been getting everything set up.
So you got licensed 2 months ago?
But 2 or 3,
Okay.
October.
So this is what's going to happen quite often when you ask questions in your discovery. The prospect is going to tell you a whole lot of nothing. So really what we're trying to do in the discovery is we're trying to understand what pain are they having now? What is the goal that they want to get to? And we want to show them how they can stop being in the pain that they're in and get to the goal that they want to get to. But we have to understand what is the pain, and we also have to understand what is the goal. So when I ask this question, the prospect's not really giving me much. So what you're going to see is I'm going to try to get a little bit deeper here and really figuring out, like, why are we on this call? Because just hearing, hey, you've been in real estate for a couple months, that's great and all, but that's not really pain or a goal, which is what we're actually trying to figure out.
All right. So are you doing this full time?
Yeah.
Okay. So doing real estate full time. How many transactions have you done so far?
None yet.
Okay. So no deals yet.
Yeah.
What have you been doing to try to get clients?
Just been trying to reach out to the people.
So a lot of people don't understand, like, that's rapid fire back to back questions. I think a lot of people don't make efficient enough use of their discovery time, because what I've learned with prospects and taking as many calls as I have, thousands of calls at this point, there is going to be a time where they get tired of answering questions. So you have to be able to do a good job of getting all your questions out in a pretty efficient use of time so that they don't really get annoyed with answering questions and then just kind of shell up and not want to answer questions anymore. So that was like 3 back-to-back questions within literally, 10 seconds.
Well, I know, let everybody know that I'm in business. I'm not really, haven't actually done any like farming or any marketing like that. I'm about to start an email campaign, an online campaign for first-time buyers on my Instagram and my Facebook. See what comes out of there. I'll probably start sending some of that material some places, try to convince some folks to buy homes.
Yeah. Why have you not started anything yet?
It's still in the works. So the reason I'm partnering with a lender.
So now we're urgency, right? That's an urgency-based question. We're really trying to figure out, why have you not started anything yet? Where's the urgency? And we're really trying to get them to feel the fact that it's been 3 months or 2 months or whatever, and hey, you're not getting any results yet, right? That's really what I'm trying to get him to sit with is, it's been 3 months, you've had your license for 3 months, you haven't done anything yet. What's going to change? How do we know that in another 3 months, you're not going to be in the exact same scenario? Humans ultimately want growth. They want upward mobility. They want to scale their businesses or whatever it is that they're working on. And so what I'm trying to get him to sit with here is, hey, it's been 3 months and you haven't done anything yet. We can't let another 3 months go by with you in the exact same position.
We have in our office she's the expert on first-time buyers as a loan officer. So I'm partnering with her to get all those first-time buyers that would be clients set up with everything. So it's kind of like a 2-people process. And we're kind of like slowly putting it together, getting everything set up and trying to figure out how we're going to manage the whole marketing and everything.
Okay. So you're going to partner up. What were you doing before real estate?
I used to be an operations manager for a logistics company.
Oh, that's cool. So why'd you be doing that?
Got laid off. COVID.
So again, we're just rapid fire discovery right now. Like, I am not really trying to soften these questions. I am just trying to figure out, where are you now? Where do you want to be? Why are you not there yet? And then really be able to position my solution as the thing that stands in between where they are now and where they want to be. That's really all we're trying to do on a sales call. I think most people make this a lot more complicated than it really is. You have your prospect in where they are now. You have where your prospect wants to be, and you need to position your solution as the thing that is going to take them there with the least amount of effort, stress, money, time, etc. possible. That's really all we're trying to do in the discovery.
Yeah. When did that happen?
March.
Okay.
Last year.
Got it. All right. Makes sense. So what sort of things look like right now in terms of like a marketing budget to start out? Like, what I guess would be realistic for you when it comes to getting things going?
So this is not a good question. I don't advise asking this question. Sales gurus online will always say, like, can't ask this question. It's not a good question. I actually agree with the fact that it's not a good question, but I think we had a lot of good things in place where I could get away with asking a question like this. So one of the things that we work on with agencies at agencyclients.com is market leader positioning. And basically what that means is, before your prospects speak with you, they trust you, they know you can help them, they're actually looking forward to the call, they actually show up to the call, etc. And this was the reason that my sales process didn't have to be the best thing in the world, but we could still close, tons of deals. And of course, we were great at client acquisition, and being great at client acquisition is super important. But because of our market leader positioning, that helped drastically. So I think we were in a position where the prospect was pretty excited before the call. The prospect had seen some case studies. The prospect had seen our website, and we kind of pre-sold them before the call. So it was okay to answer a question like this, or rather to ask a question like this, because we already had the trust before the call.
I guess it really depends on, it's not necessarily a money problem. Is it worth it problem, I guess.
Gotcha.
Is it worth it? Is it work? Is it?
Yeah.
What's going to be the return on investment?
So this is like every prospect that you ever speak to, by the way, especially if you sell B2B, it's almost never a money thing. It's almost always is this going to work thing. If you sell B2B, I mean, people will pretty much just be logical about the decision most of the time. And I would even say that, like, real estate agents are not typical B2B, but I would even see with real estate agents, if they knew it was going to help them and if they were fully sold on that fact and there wasn't a massive risk of getting started, they were normally going to move some things around or pull some strings in order to at least get the funding to get started if they didn't have the funding on hand.
I think it works. Okay, I get it. So what is the average price point in your area right now? Like what are homes going for?
Varies a lot depending on the area. The greater Seattle area is really, really, really big.
Yeah.
And there's a lot. The market is kind of crazy. There's just a lot of homes selling. So it really depends on the area. Like it really depends on the area. Like there's homes going for 400. Some areas there's homes going for 2 million. Others, and it's like there's a lot of homes going for 1 million, 700, 800. So it's kind of.
Yeah, I gotcha. So what would be like an area that you think you would want to focus on? What would the price points be there? Like what would the area be, and then what do you think the price points would be?
So this guy's not giving me any great answers to any questions, and you can tell it's not really making me not want to ask questions anymore. I'm just continuing to ask questions. So I'm just going to ask it in a different way because I learned this kind of intuitively. I think a lot of people see discovery as this list of boxes that you must check off before you pitch. Like I think that's how a lot of people see discovery. And discovery is not that. Discovery is getting as much pain and as much understanding of current circumstance as possible, kind of understand what they've tried in the past, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and then figure out what their goals are, and then show them how this is going to be the thing that's going to help them hit their goals and be different than everything else that they've done in the past. And unless we have a ton of context, it's really hard for us to personalize the pitch to the prospect, right? And so the reason that I'm just continuing to ask question after question after question is because we're having a very Socratic kind of dialogue, right? He's answering a question. My next question is flowing very well from the answer that I just previously got. And so this is why I don't really follow a typical script on a call, is because it doesn't flow the same every single call. Sometimes you're going to ask one question and they're going to give you answers to 3 of your questions. Well, if you have a script that you're following, a very static script, well, that doesn't actually work as well. And so you can see with me here, I mean, we've asked how many questions, dozens of questions at this point within the first 7 minutes of the call. And he's not really giving me great answers. So I'm just going to keep prying, because I know that I don't have enough context to pitch yet.
About 800 or so.
Okay. Yep. Good number. And then what area would that be specifically?
Linwood, Bothell area.
Okay.
Well, I mean, both areas.
So this is going to be anchored into the pitch later. And that's why I always figure out what area they're in, what area they want to be in.
Because actually, you could easily find homes worth up to $1.5 million, $2 million. But I guess the average would be about 700 to 800 maybe.
Got it. Okay. So Linwood, only 5 mile radius. Let's see how big. Bothell, you said with a B?
Mm-hmm. Bothell.
Got it. Okay. So Linwood would probably be a good place to start. You said the average there would be 800K.
Thereabouts.
Okay.
Are you a real estate agent too, or are you just a tech guy?
So I worked at a brokerage. So we got started doing this. So I was a cold caller at a brokerage. That's how we got started doing this. If you watch that pre-call video, that's me talking in the video. Yeah.
How old are
so,
you? If you don't mind me asking?
No, I don't mind. 22.
22?
Yep. Yeah, I don't mind asking at all. Okay, so I get some context. Linwood.
Yeah, so it's just like, again, I'm just going to keep asking him questions because I can kind of feel what's sort of happening here is I think he's nervous, he's uncomfortable, and we haven't really gotten to a position where it's going to make sense to pitch yet. And so anytime you have to always understand any of these questions, like, are you a real estate agent? How old are you, etc. I don't really care to just answer the questions, but I have to understand that these are all somewhat trust-based, somewhat nerves, somewhat like, I'm not really sure what I'm doing here on this call. So I would just answer the questions. Some sales trainers would maybe say something like, well, what makes you ask? But it's one of those things where it's just more simple to just answer the question, satisfy that question, and then just get straight back into the discovery. So that's kind of why I don't even have any problem with answering a question like that, because it's just like, all right, I'll answer it, and then let's just get straight back into the discovery.
800K. What's the split with Windermere?
50-50 until my cap, then 0-100.
Okay, what's the cap?
First year, 15 grand.
Okay, so that's 50-50 on even like sphere of influence leads?
50-50 on any closed transaction.
Why?
It's just until 15,000. So
okay.
If I do one transaction and then one transaction I get, the total commission is 30 grand.
I got you.
I get 15. I get 15. Any other transaction after that, everything's for me.
I got you. Okay, so that'll only be like the first deal, maybe 2 deals max.
Yeah, once the 15 grand are satisfied.
So this is just the money math in their business. And when you kind of understand, I've done videos about this in the past, but when you really understand the language of your market, this builds a lot more trust, right? So I'm asking him like, man, that's egregious that you pay 50% of your commission away to your brokerage. Why is that? And then he kind of explained it and it makes more sense and that kind of thing. But kind of understanding this math is how we're going to be able to do the ROI justification at the end. So something that's really important is if you sell marketing services, you have to ultimately understand all you are selling is to make someone more money than they spend. Ultimately, like when you sell a marketing service that's, let's say, $4,000 a month, you have to be able to justify that $4,000 a month is going to make much more than $4,000 a month. And it also depends on the margin of the service, right? That the person sells. So, if they sell e-commerce products and they only have 20% margin, well, you have to convince them that they're going to make a lot more than $4,000. If they sell real estate where they basically have no expenses and it's 100% margins, essentially minus your marketing costs, then you need to justify that like you're going to make 12 grand or 15 grand or whatever. If you can make somebody 3 times their money, that's obviously insanely good in any context, right? If it's especially a high margin service like selling real estate as an example. So we need to understand what is the math behind their business model, or how much are they specifically making, because in different areas, there's different home prices, et cetera. It's kind of like this in every market. If you work with a automotive repair shop as an example, it's just a random niche that I can think of. If they do, service on a European car, that's a lot different than doing service on maybe a Japanese car, as an example. And so we have to kind of understand their math so we can do the ROI justification at the end. So one thing you have to understand is I must stress that I'm not just asking random questions that I figured out, oh, these would be good questions to ask. And like, I kind of have to do this thing where I dance around a little bit and then ask some questions and then I'll pitch. These are all important questions to add context, to really make sure we can help, and then to be able to explain why this is going to be a good fit for him and his business. So these are not random questions, not a script that I'm reading off of. I kind of have an idea of what am I actually going to be able to ask that's going to allow me to have the best chance of closing at the end of the call, so I can have as much context as possible. So that's really what you're seeing me do here in the discovery. So it's going to be somewhat custom to the niche you work with, which is another reason it's important to niche down, because you need to understand the ins and outs of the people that you're working with.
There are small percentages that go like to the Windermere Foundation and things like that, but they're marginal.
Okay. So I guess what's the plan right now getting things ramped up? You said you're going to set up an email list, get some stuff going, start reaching out to some people, but like what's sort of the plan ramping up? Like what's sort of your plan with this? How many deals do you want to do this year? Like, can I get some context on that maybe?
How many deals I want to do?
So that was a lot of questions. I actually don't like batching up question after question after question after question. This shows you that in order to not, there's many things on this call. By the way, I don't think this was one of my best calls at all. Actually, a little bit semi-embarrassed. I don't think this is a great call at all, to be real with you. I'm jittering. I'm all over the place. I'm being a little bit standoffish. I think I'm probably a little entitled, to be honest. This is something that can creep in as you start to scale. You get sort of entitled and you kind of think like, if this guy's not going to close, or if this guy is not, serious, then I'm not really interested. I can tell a little bit of that in my demeanor. So if I could go back, tell myself like, hey, dude, straighten up a little bit. But one thing that I would also say is I don't like asking multiple questions at once. And so I just asked this guy like 4 questions at once. It is not a good practice. You should ask one question at a time. I basically ask him 4 at once. So try to ask questions one by one.
This year, I'm as many as I can. I mean, I can at the very least handle probably 3 or 4 deals a month. We get a lot of support from our office. It's actually a really, really good office. It's not like your typical, all right, yeah, you're here. And
so by the way, this is completely dependent on business model and what type of client you work with. But we worked with a lot of beginners. We worked with a lot of newer real estate agents. And if they're new, right, then you don't have a lot of context on what they've actually done in the past. So you can't say like, how many deals did you close last year if they just got their license? And so when we're dealing with somebody new, we need to talk about their goals, what they want to do, what their plans are, rather than, what they've tried, what's worked, what hasn't worked, etc. And so if you're working with, and you have the ability to work with newer people, you have to sort of alter your discovery. Otherwise, you're going to ask 2 questions and you're just going to pitch. So future pace and future, go into the future of their business if they're newer, rather than going into the past because there's no past context.
You're on shit out.
Right.
Like, they actually provide a lot of support for us, and the owners are incredibly involved. They help out with a lot of things. We have a transaction coordinator, and it's up very well. So it easily handle 3 to 4 per month.
Okay. So what are some kind of strategies to get there? Obviously, we're on the call today, but other than maybe doing something like this, what would be sort of the plan to get ramped up to doing 3 to 4 deals a month? Because that's, that'll have you at a pretty good income. So what's sort of the plan to get there?
I mean, that's the goal eventually. For now, it's just, I'm trying to build a referrals
So we're really trying to make him feel insecure about his lack of a plan. It's probably my favorite thing that I've been on the call so far. If I was my own sales manager, I would be yelling at myself right now on the meeting, but I don't really think this is great, but still the points hold true. And, at the end of the day, again, the more someone trusts you, the less effective you have to be on the sales call. So if you're somebody watching this, you're not naturally gifted at sales. Well, you have to do a lot of selling off the call, and it allows you to do less on the call, if that makes sense. And so the way I would have you think about it is the reason I'm asking this question, aside from this, what else do you have planned? Number one, I'm inferring that he's going to sign up. I'm not really giving him much of a choice mentally, right? And I'm just saying, like, aside from doing this, what else do you have planned? But I'm also trying to point out in his mind the lack of a plan aside from working with us.
Business by referral. So it is kind of without something like what you guys would do, it's kind of a slowly growing business.
There you go.
I got you.
So he just said
what
it.
I found. I was
like he literally just mirrored exactly what I just said.
A few years before transition this, and that's kind of found the same thing. It's a little bit of a slow grind, and a lot of times people go for a pretty long time without getting deals done. So, ideally we could come in, help you get a good solid 2 deals a month base coming in, and then you have some really good income, and you have like some stuff that can quickly turn into referrals, because the best referrals are normally going to be past clients, people that you've worked with, and they have good things to say about you and stuff. So yeah, we could get you ramped up there, no problem. I'm just trying to get a little bit more background. So, okay, I get where you're at. I get the area. You're with Windermere. We're going to do like 2 deals, and you're basically making 100% commission, so you're making a pretty good amount of money per deal. Have a TC, so they're going to be able to get you up to speed pretty quickly. With getting deals done and keeping you efficient. Want to get some referrals coming in, but right now it's just a little bit spotty. Are you looking at other leads?
So this is just a review of my notes, by the way. That's just a full review of my notes. He's not giving me great answers, but he's still giving me what I need to know. I'm pretty sure at this point, okay, we're a good fit. We're going to be able to help. He needs to work with us. I've got enough pain gathered of it's been 3 months. You haven't done anything. You have no plan. I don't really see or forecast a lot of objections that are going to come up. The thing that I was worried about was that he was new. And then I got him to kind of say, hey, if this looks good, I'm going to sign up. I'm not really worried about money. So that was kind of the one that I was most concerned about.
Gen right now, man, or is it just sort of something you saw and you checked out, or are you checking out other stuff pretty actively?
I've checked out other things. For the most part, everything just looks very scammy. So
I get it.
Just kind of trying to, I guess, weed through and trying to figure out what is scammy and what is not.
Yeah, fair enough. What made you feel like this didn't feel scammy?
Yeah, so this is a good question. If you're running into have calls with other companies, which can happen a lot, I like to just pre-handle objections. I don't like to get to the end of the call and like argue with somebody and, ask them like a bunch of these crazy objection handle questions and try to make somebody really emotional. I don't make really emotional purchasing decisions. I kind of operate with logic, or I try to, at least. Everybody says that, but I try to. And so I don't want to get to the end of the call and handle a bunch of objections or beg somebody to come on board. And I've always had a little bit too much of an ego to straight up beg somebody to work with me. So with that said, a common objection that you're going to get is, this looks good. I have calls with other companies. I'm not really sure, especially if you're running ads, by the way. You have to realize somebody's seeing your ads. Your ads are not the only ads that they're seeing. They're seeing other ads, and they're likely having calls with other companies. So if your main source of client acquisition is ads for your agency, it's great. I scaled, to big numbers with ads, but they're probably also going to be looking at other companies. So I would ask this question, which is, hey, when it comes to finding something to help you with lead gen, have you been kind of looking around for a while? Is this kind of your first stop? And then I would get them to tell me, what have you been looking at? And then they would also say, yeah, I have a call with you. And then we could get into, do you have other calls? When are the calls? So on and so forth. So again, very Socratic, they say something, I respond, based off of that, last answer.
Curiosity, just for our own marketing purposes. Now I'm curious.
If I'm completely honest, I want to say I'm pretty sure that like your face was on the ad that I saw, and kind of seemed trustworthy, I guess.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Of course.
That's a nice guy. That makes my day, man. I appreciate that. I mean a lot, dude. And that's how we try to come across too, because it's like, especially on YouTube, because we run a lot of ads on YouTube, and a lot of people get on the call and they'll be like, yeah, the only reason I clicked on the ad is because it wasn't like flashy, so like so many ads are like, so like there's one specific guy that does real estate marketing, and his ads are so like, look at this nice item, look at this car, look at this apartment I live in. It's just like, dude, nobody cares. People care about what kind of results you bring your clients. Like that's all that matters at the end of the day, is how many people are succeeding with this. I'm gonna take a set.
I'm just so based, by the way. Like that's just still so true, by the way. Agencyclients.com. We don't flex different items. We don't say, here's what we did. We flex results and we show proof that we get our clients great results, because this is so true with literally any niche. Nobody cares about you standing on a balcony. Nobody cares about your new car. They care about what transformation can you bring me. So as you start to scale your agency, you should really remember that client results are what people care about. And that's how you build trust.
But yeah, man, I appreciate that. And I think that's why.
Because we would rather boast about how well our clients are doing rather than how well, we ourselves are doing. That's what's important to us. So Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think we're taking 2.5% in Linwood or more closer to 3? What are other agents in the office taking right now on a deal on the buy side?
It's 3%.
So we'd be taking like 3% of, let's just say, at a minimum 800,000.
Well, not necessarily a minimum of 100,000 because there are, like I said, it varies a lot. Linwood area average probably like closer to 600, 67. Bothell, some areas 800, maybe 9.
Okay. Let's just put the 700 as the low number. So you'd be making 21K net, and then obviously you got split 50-50 with the broker. So you're making 10.5 the first 2 deals. Let's just say 2 deals because that'll get you above 15K. So first 2 deals are essentially you're gonna make 10.5 net, which is still good. And then the rest of those are doing over 20K. Does that sound right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Okay, cool. All right, man. I want to make sure my math is adding up.
So yeah, you can start to lose people if the discovery drags on too long. So I'm starting to feel like, okay, he's drifting off a little bit. We need to switch context. We need to do something else because I'm asking him questions and he's just kind of fully drifting off.
I mean, the first 2 is probably gonna be like 10 and well, it's 10 and then 5 for the other, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So does your cap with them, does that reset every year or does that just one time?
It's a year thing.
Yearly. Okay, got it. And
it's 15 in the first year, 25 in a year after that.
Gotcha. So now this is going to reset every calendar year or like
it resets for me in October. I remember the day that I signed up with them. October.
When he started. Yeah.
So we'll reset October.
So again, I don't think this is a great call. I don't really know what's going on here with me on this call. To be honest, I think I'm hungover. I think that's what's going on. So this is a testament to the scalable selling system. I don't drink anymore, but in the times that I did, if I was hungover, I could still just get on and do the scalable selling system. So if anything, this is a testament to how well the scalable selling system works, because even if you're hungover and you're not on your A game, you can still close deals. And so again, I've said this time and time again, I'm not doing the greatest job on this call, but what I am doing well is getting every single question answered that I know I need context on in order to customize the pitch and in order to really get enough urgency built for him to sign up on the call right away.
Yeah. Okay. All right, man. I got some good context. So we want to get you scaled up. You feel like you can handle 3 to 4 deals per month. Do you have sort of like an income goal? Like if you can make X amount of dollars this year, you'll.
I mean, I'd be happy with 200 at least.
So 200K. So essentially you need to do like 20 deals.
Thereabouts, yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So 200K, have you 20 deals? Is that just out of curiosity? It's a specific number. Is there any significance in that, or it just sounds like
200?
Yeah.
No, there's no. It just seems attainable.
It's a beautiful number.
I mean, it's better than 100.
So also just reverse engineering, like what is the number? But I also don't just directly ask, by the way, hey, how much money do you make per deal? And so I kind of had more of a formulaic, systematic kind of approach where it was just like, how much is the homes that you're selling? What percentage do you take? What's your commission split with your broker? And we just kind of work through the math together rather than me just directly asking, hey, how much money you make per deal? Because it can kind of be an invasive question and I ask it rather early in the discovery. Now you can actually kind of see one thing I want you to realize is he has gotten much more open with me. He's given a lot fuller answers, although he's kind of like, dozing off a little bit and maybe losing a little bit of focus. You can tell that we've got a lot more trust at this point in the call than maybe we did when we first got started.
Oh, that's exactly. It's better than 50. It's better than there's a lot of numbers. There's about 200 other numbers that are worse than that. So
right.
Yeah. Okay. I get it, man. I get some good context. All right. So I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you answering my question. So, man, I think you definitely be, and I think you'll agree after I take.
So now we have full context. Now what you're going to see is me do the pre-pitch. Okay. So before I transition to the demo, I'm going to do a short pre-pitch. This is like, think a 15 to 20 second pitch of what we do, how we would help, and why it's going to be effective for him before going into the bigger pitch, which is obviously going to be where we're going to go through the entire system.
Take you through everything, but I think you're definitely an ideal fit for kind of what we're doing. You're making a lot of money per deal. You're in a good market. And the cool thing with new agents that we're working with is you get an opportunity to, like, we're going to speed up the learning curve a lot of getting you in your first few deals, get you some traction, get you comfortable sitting down with clients, because we're going to be putting you in front of so many people. So, like when I was working in the office, so many new agents, they maybe have 5 or 10 or 15 meetings a whole year just because they were all referrals or cold calling your friends and family, where with our clients, like we're going to put you in 5, 10, 15 meetings a month. So it's like, we can kind of accelerate that learning curve, get you in some deals, and got a pretty good plan in place where we can get you to 200K a year in kind of that Linwood area. So let me just walk you through it. We'd be happy to answer.
So a lot of justification for why he's actually a good fit. A lot of people just say like, hey, you're a good fit. But when people hear that, they think that's BS. And so for me, I'm trying to tell him why I think he's a good fit and specifically what the reasons are that we're actually going to be able to help him. Like, hey, you've answered all my questions. I know this, and this about you. For these reasons, you're going to be a good fit. And, here's one.
All your questions on what this would look like. And then we can just kind of talk through all the details if that's cool.
Sounds good to me.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen here. And let's go through it. So Dan, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Cool. right, man. So this is the system that we're using right now to help our clients do 8 to 10 new deals every 16 weeks while saving a bit of time in the process. So we're big on.
So this is just going to be kind of a pitch deck here. First slide is basically just a high-level overview, high-level promise. This is not the guarantee. This is more the high-level promise. This is something that, I work with AC partners on all the time, but this is something that is very widely misunderstood. This is the dream outcome. This is the high-level promise. This is by no means the guarantee, right, but this is just the high-level promise.
We help our clients do 8 to 10 new deals every 16 weeks while saving a bit of time in the process. So we're big on speed. It's something that we kind of put a lot of emphasis on.
Timeline is really going to pre-frame, what the process actually looks like. And one thing that I think is super important that a lot of people take for granted, that a lot of people discount, is the quicker someone gets up and rolling and the more urgency you have internally to get somebody going, really the more urgency there's going to be for them to sign up and the more justification there is for them to sign up. So, if you're trying to get somebody to one call close right away and you're saying like, hey, we can kind of get you rolling immediately. I can have you on an onboarding call tomorrow. We can have you launched in 5 days. We can have you getting results in a week. It's easier to have that external urgency for somebody to want to get started, right? And so there's kind of 2 forms of urgency. There's internal and there's external. What you're going to do here is see me use both. But what a lot of times the internal urgency of when you come on board, we get you rolling very quickly, can also create some external urgency for the prospect, which is, hey, the quicker I get rolling, the quicker I can get results. So it's kind of a way that they work together.
The quicker we can get you up and rolling, and the quicker we can get you in front of some opportunities, the quicker you're going to be able to start, making money and get deals done. So the first thing and the most important thing for us is that there's a good fit. I want to be able to make sure that I can help you, and then what we do is actually going to, be able to bring you a positive result. Now I'm just going to walk you through the demo, which is the process A to Z, how everything would work, all of kind of our process, and giving you some insight on that. Tomorrow you would be on a traction call with your client.
And so I'm even saying tomorrow you would be on a traction call. I am pre-framing pretty well the whole time that we're going to expect to make a decision here at the end of this call.
Success manager. That basically we onboard you, get you ready to roll. Day 3, we're going to go ahead and build out the system for you. And then day 5, you're actually going to launch. So with you coming on and claiming that sort of Linwood market, we would have you live in that market in about 5 days. And a lot of times it's actually quicker, which I'll show you in just a bit. Does that make sense so far?
Yep.
All right, so I'd like to first share what the program's not going to do. As you kind of shared already, dude, and as I've kind of alluded to, there's a lot of stuff out there. So I want to first help you understand what's not going to happen, if we do end up working together. The first thing is we're not here to turn you into a glorified call center. So like a lot of agents are, they're almost selling off their time by.
So by the way, this is not canned. This would be custom to whatever niche you're working with. And so these are very specific pain points that I learned with prospects. And by the way, like now, what's so beautiful is you can run all of your sales call recordings through Claude as an example. And whatever prospects are talking about, current state or things they tried in the past that haven't worked or whatever, with Claude and with AI, you can kind of streamline this even more. And so, with this context of this call in 2022, I am learning these things and then I'm implementing them. This is just a testament to how now with AI doing the exact same things, you can scale so much faster. So even like with this specific, what we're not going to do for you with call recordings and transcripts and AI, and you're going to be able to figure out like, what do people not want even faster, which is kind of cool.
We're not here to have you do that. At the same time, we're not going to load you up on a bunch of low quality leads, people with no income, no credit, no job, that kind of thing, and then blame you for not converting them. At the same time, we're not going to be forcing you to work 80 hours a week. So, we want you to make 200K this year. We're going to give you a plan, make 200K this year, but it doesn't mean you're going to have to work 80 hours a week in order to get there. This is not a coaching program. So I'm not trying to show you a bunch of new stuff or how to set up all kinds of fancy marketing and build out all kinds of landing pages and stuff like that. We're actually just going to come in and do all of that for you.
So these are like the top 5 things that people just didn't want to happen. So we just kind of overtly stated, this is what's not going to happen if we work together.
And then last but not least, man, not here to put you on the income roller coaster. So like, there's a lot of agents that we talk to and, they're killing half the year and then they're basically starving the rest of the year. Like we're not here to have you in that spot. We're going to bring you that consistent, income month over month over month and have you those consistent deals coming through. What we are going to help you do, we're going to help you 3 to 5x what you're currently doing. So obviously we're going to start from scratch, which means it's only up from here. But essentially, the first goal we have is get you to that 3 deals a month mark. We're big on leverage. So, when you're out working with clients or when you're out at showings or whatever the case may be, we're actually in your corner working on your business, right? We're bringing in leads, bringing in appointments, and getting you in front of more clients. We are huge on communication. So we're going to be communicating with you really regularly and openly just to make sure that you're getting the best results and that you're seeing success with everything. We're going to pack your calendar with qualified appointments. Really all that means is we're going to put you in front of qualified people that are ready to buy or sell a home in Linwood and surrounding areas, obviously. And then last but not least, if it's cool with you, we're going to allow you to work less and earn more income, which really is a goal that a lot of people have to get in real estate. But we're going to help you do that and kind of make that more achievable. The quick about us, just to get some background on the company, started after working in real estate. So me and my partner Adam, we worked at a brokerage, and that's actually how we got started doing this because it started by just solving kind of the lead generation.
Yeah, so this is just some social proof. If you don't have this, don't sit there and stress out about how you don't have social proof. Don't use fake social proof. It's unethical. It's against the law, actually, in America. The quicker you get it, the more you can put it in. But if you don't have it, you can just skip it, and you absolutely can close deals without social proof. We talk about the 5 trust levers don't want to go super deep into that in this video, but one of the trust levers is case studies, but there's 4 other trust levers that you can pull, that also build a lot of trust. One of those being understanding your market, which is what you've seen me do in the discovery. When you talk like someone who actually understands your market, people trust you a lot more. And the other is your actual positioning online. And when somebody looks you up, what comes up? How does your website look? Does it look professional? Does it actually seem like you have a process that you follow each time, or does it seem random? There's so many intricacies that build trust, and you don't just need case studies, I think is what I'm trying to say. So we're going to go through case studies. We just talk about who the people are, what results they got. We did have quite a bit, and then we had a lot of social proof as well. But again, there was a time that I was closing deals with this with no case studies. So don't have that limiting belief that you can't do it if you don't have tons of case studies.
I'll actually show you what we did for them. So,
okay, so this is kind of important. The system name.
Does that all make sense?
So, we go through case studies first, and then I basically say, I felt like this was the easiest way to do it for those of you who do have case studies. You say, here's the case studies, here's what we did to get all those case studies. Kind of frames it a different way, which is, here's all these people that got results, here's the exact process we ran for them to get those results, and then there is the name of the system. We called it the agent automation system. So you're also going to see my 3 unique mechanisms and how we framed these unique mechanisms. And what you're going to see is, for those of you who are a little bit more in the know, none of these things are new or innovative or different. These have just been kind of explained in a way with unique mechanisms to make them feel, new, unique, and different. So pillar 1 is the local authority campaign. That's just a fancy way of saying, hey, we run a Facebook ad for you.
Did for them. So Dan, we'd be building out the same process for you that we built out for every single one of those clients that you just saw. But let me give you some kind of context, shed some light on what we did for all them. So we ran it through a 3-pillar process, and that's kind of what we built out to get them deals. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sit down and build out what's called a local authority campaign for you. So our team of ad buyers, as soon as you become a client, are going to sit down and create an ad campaign for you in Linwood. So this will be targeted to Linwood. And the goal here is to pick up contact information of home buyers and sellers in Linwood. So we'd be picking up their name, email, and phone number. The ads that we would be creating would be targeted within a 15 to 25 mile radius. I mean, Linwood's smack down in the middle, 15-mile circle around it. And then every lead that we generate in that radius would be exclusive to you, meaning it's not shared with any other agents. And then the cool thing is these campaigns are actually branded towards you as well. So these campaigns would represent Dan Garcia, Realtor, or however you want to brand yourself, or Dan Windermere. So that means that number 1, we're getting the brand awareness. Number 2, we're getting the leads. And this is all targeted directly towards Linwood and maybe even some surrounding areas as well, which is going to bring you that kind of brand awareness as I shared already. First pillar makes sense. Look good.
Yeah. So pillar 1, explaining the feature and what it actually is, but also explaining the value of the feature. So we're never just saying, hey, we're going to set up Facebook ads for you. The Facebook ads are going to get you leads. We're going even deeper and saying, hey, these are branded towards you. So people actually get to know you and know who you are in your market, which is going to increase your local authority. But also people are going to be interested. They're going to raise their hand. They're going to say that they want to work with you, and then everything's fully exclusive, so on and so forth. So not only explaining the feature, but also explaining the benefits.
Pillar is going to bring in leads, but we got to actually reach out to the leads. So when you're working with us,
so this is literally just text and email follow-up through Go High Level, which is framed as 2-point nurture. It's framed as something new, unique, different. And again, this is the power of the unique mechanisms.
We're actually going to reach out all the leads for you. And we do this through 2 ways. But the first one is going to be 2-point nurture. So right as we bring in leads, we're going to start to follow up those leads for you. This is through text and through emails. So you're going to have an assistant on your account that's first of all texting and emailing all your leads and essentially nurturing them. So if they're ready to go right away, I'm going to show you how we convert them, put them in front of you. But if they're not, right, if they're 6, 12, a few more months out, we're going to actually nurture those leads for you. So we bring in the leads, follow them up through text and email. And then the 3rd pillar comes in, which is actually my kind of personal favorite.
So again, pillar 2, 2-point nurture. Text and email follow-up happening through Go High Level, but again, framing it as this beneficial thing for them, which is we're doing all the follow-up for your leads. You don't have to touch it. You don't have to worry about it.
We actually are going to call, a real human is going to call each and every single one of your leads for you. So you'll have an assistant dedicated to your account, picking up the phone and calling each and every single one of your leads. And when we get them on the phone, we're going to qualify them to make sure they're actually able to work with you and qualified to work with you. So we're going to get them on the phone and understand if they're a buyer, seller, or both. What's their criteria? I mean, how many bedrooms and bathrooms are they looking for? What areas are they specifically looking to be in? So like, are they just looking in Linwood? Are they looking in surrounding areas as well? We're going to make sure they're not committed to working with an agent, as well as figuring out their timeline, meaning how quickly are they looking to move, their price range, meaning how much they have to spend. We're gonna figure out if they're working with a lender or not. So like, have they been approved with a lender? And then we'll figure out their credit score and maybe even some extra notes as well. So we get on the phone with them and they're qualified, they're ready to work with you. We put them right on your calendar as an appointment. So we'll actually integrate with your calendar. And if we see free space on the calendar, we put these clients in appointments. So all you got to do is show up and meet with clients who are ready to use you and kind of work with you. So basically that's how that works. That'll make sense so far.
Sounds good.
So you're essentially going to have appointments scheduled directly on the calendar. And our worst performing clients right now that we're working with, this is pulled from last month's averages, are converting appointments at 20%. So that means that our worst performing clients, they go into 5 appointments, they end up working with 1. So on average, you can.
So again, the quicker you can get that data on how much people are succeeding, how fast people are succeeding, the averages of people succeeding, this is super important as you get more clients. But again, if you don't have this, don't just make stuff up. Just leave it out, skip it. Again, one thing like one little statement or a couple of little case studies aren't going to be the reason that you lose a deal, right? It's going to come from the prospect feeling like you don't understand them, the prospect feeling like the biggest problem is not the inexperience, it's the prospect can feel the inexperience. So when a prospect sees this pitch, even divorced from the case studies, this feels like something that we have done before. Again, if you just completely divorce it from the case studies, we have specific pillars, we have unique mechanisms, everything makes sense as well. Everything flows together in a really efficient kind of way. We generate leads, we text them and email them, we call them and put them on the calendar. This feels like an actual process and not just a bunch of randomness. And like, this doesn't even feel like a marketing agency, right? It feels like a system, in a system that is proven in kind of a process that they're buying into, rather than just a bunch of random services.
Expect a really high conversion rate from these because once again, we're doing all the qualifying and scheduling. All we need you to do is show up.
So again, huge benefit. We're always ending out with the benefit, right? I'm going to try to do this every single time. I might not do it perfectly every single time, but I'm always trying to end with the benefit, which is we book them right on your calendar. All you have to do is show up, because each feature that you have does have some benefit, right? And so you can either say like, hey, we call them all, which is good. People want their leads called. But the real benefit is we do all of the work for you, and all you really need to do is just show up and speak with the person. That's really the benefit. That's really the payoff.
So you're also going to get access to our CRM.
So that's the hero three, the main three pillars. What you're going to see here, or the big three, sometimes as we call them, what you're going to see here is what I call the small three. And a lot of times it's more than three, but these are just ancillary things that kind of support your main three pillars, right? This is the value stack. If you ever watch something like Russell Brunson's The Perfect Webinar, you're going to see that he has kind of the main things, and then he has all these little bonuses, right? Software companies are great at this. They say, hey, you get this, and you get this, and you also get this. This is some of the additional things, just to kind of beef up the offer a little bit more.
This is the glue that kind of holds the whole thing together for you. So it allows you to see everything our team is doing. So at any given time, you can log into the CRM and get a fly overview of the system we're running for you, see all the leads that are coming in. You get kind of that transparency on the process of what we're doing and how we're doing it. You're also going to get Jolt University. This is a training portal that we're going to hook you up with. So you can actually see what our top performing clients have done in order to see the most success. So when you're coming on as a newer agent, I want you to see what people like Corey or Mark or Ruben did in order to have the success with the system that they did. So you're able to see like how you convert appointments at a higher rate, what you do after you have an appointment, how you block off your calendar so you never get double booked. That's all training that's given to you in Jolt University to get you up to speed as quickly as possible. You're also
So again, the more things as you start to scale that you can add into the offer, and the more ways that you can kind of beef up the offer, the easier it's going to be to sell. And like, even if it's small things, like it's 24/7 support. Hey, anytime you need us, you can reach out to us and we'll respond within 24 hours. Or it's something simple like data or reporting or analytics. There's so many small things, the more you start to think about it, that you can add in to your pitch that really just fill out the value and just beef up the value of what the prospect actually gets. So like, even saying like dedicated CSM and kind of making this its own pillar in a way, or kind of a part of the additional things that they get, really adds to the value of them signing up.
Success manager. So then you'll have somebody fully dedicated to your account, making sure you're succeeding, making sure you're getting results. So not only do you have an assistant calling all your leads, but you have a success manager who's basically making sure you know where to be, when to be there, you're up to speed with everything, and you're getting the best results. So you have the assistant to call the leads, and you have the success manager to make everything, make sure everything's working the way it should be, make sure you're happy, make sure you're making money. So a few things to keep in mind. We do a 16-week initial term. So we are not locking you into any long-term contract.
So again, if you're selling kind of a term, 90-day commitment, 16-week commitment, always be upfront about this. I've heard some people throughout the years that say, just tell them that they're signing up and then send them the agreement and say it's a 90-day term. No, don't ever do stuff like that. Always be upfront about, how long the commitment actually is. And then if you're doing a guarantee, do your guarantee over the course of the term. It's so crazy how people will do a 90-day term and then they'll do like a 30-day guarantee, right? So it's like, let's say you guarantee someone 100 leads. Well, in the first month, and it's a 90-day term, let's say, like in the first month, if they get 25 leads, what are you going to do? Like give them a refund for the first month? That makes no sense. And it also takes time to get their campaigns going and that kind of thing, depending on what service you're running. Every service kind of takes a bit of time. So if you're doing a guarantee, do it over the length of their entire term, and always be upfront about, what the term is.
Like that. 16 weeks is the amount of time we need to get you up to speed in some appointments, making some money with everything. So we're not locking you in long term. We just need 16 weeks. We do agent and area exclusivity. So that means when we're working with you in Linwood, and you come up.
Also explain kind of why you do the term that you do. I explain it there as not much more, not much less. That's another thing that you're going to see here. I really noticed that how much time I spent on each pillar in each slide had zero correlation to if they closed or not. And I would even argue with this point that the more time I spent on the actual demo and the slides and the pitch, the less chance I had of closing them. So you're going to see here, I'm not really saying much more than needs to be said. I see a lot of people that do their pitches and they end up explaining one thing that they do for 5 or 10 minutes. That is confusing and overwhelming the prospect. And by the time you get them to the end, they're not going to really feel clarity and they're not going to feel, that excited feeling and that energy that you need them to feel at the end of the call in order to want to sign up right away, because you've kind of overwhelmed them with so much information. And so as you can see here, that's kind of nice about the slides. The slides keep you on track. They help you not, really go off base too much. And you're also seeing, though, I'm not spending more time than I need to on any given piece.
Partner in Linwood. One of the biggest things you're essentially buying is the full exclusivity to that area. So you're licensing out that area. You're the only client we work with there, meaning we're not sharing any leads and appointments with anyone else. You're our Linwood partner. And then last but not least, we back everything through the money back performance guarantee. So for you, come on board. I don't think it's fair for us to not get you the results that you want and you still have to pay. So this means that in 16 weeks, we guarantee you exclusive qualified booked appointments on your calendar or your money back. So literally when your client bars, all we need you to do is show up to the appointments that we've screened, that we've booked right on the calendar for you. All you gotta do is show up and close, and we'll do the rest, or you literally don't pay. So this looks different per package. As I showed you kind of through the slides already, we have different packages we bring clients on, but I just want to make sure this piece makes crystal clear sense of,
So one important note on guarantees. I see a lot of people and even some of the clients that come in initially and work with me one-on-one at agencyclients.com, even some of these guys are a little bit confused on guarantees. So what you really want to understand about your guarantee is that at the end of the day, the biggest thing that the prospect is fearful of is that they spend money and they get no results, and that they're out their money and then they also didn't get any results. The prospect is not thinking about the payoff or the upside, right? So like, let's say the best case scenario is that the prospect makes 100 grand, and the worst case scenario is that they lose 10 grand and then they don't get any leads or whatever. They just are out 10 grand. Well, they're more worried about losing 10 grand than they are excited about making 100 grand, right? They're more worried about the risk than they are excited about the reward. This is just basic human psychology and really how humans make decisions. And so your guarantee doesn't need to guarantee them $100,000, because that's ridiculous. That would be, in this hypothetical, a 10x ROI. You're going to guarantee someone a 10x ROI. That's preposterous, right? The guarantee really just needs to help them understand there's not going to be a scenario where they spend $10,000 and get nothing, right? Your guarantee should be doing a good enough job on the sales call. I'm not talking about what you say in your marketing or your high level promise or whatever. I'm talking about what they get on the sales call should really put their nerves to rest that they might come in and spend money and get nothing. That's all we're really trying to do with the guarantee, is just show that there's not that big of a risk by doing this, and that the reward is a much bigger payoff, and it's a much bigger thing to be excited about because there's not much of a risk.
Points are guaranteed. We book them right on the calendar. If we don't book them, you don't pay. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. All right, man. So you are getting the local authority campaign, the 2-point nurture, live sales assistant, Jolt University, client success manager, and the CRM. There is a bonus that we go ahead and throw in, which is called contact reactivation. So as you're kind of spending some more time in the business, you're going to get leads, right? Names, database, people's information. We can actually take those and follow up on those for you as well. So if you got any kind of current database or list of leads, you hand them our way, we follow up on those for you as well. Just a little added bonus we throw in order to get you some more traction. And even if you don't have a big list right now, we can do this later down the line. So it's something that you'll always have access to, and something you'll always kind of be able to come in and cash in whenever you want. So top down, you're getting the system, which is the local authority campaign, the 2-point nurture, live sales assistant, Jolt University, the client success manager, the CRM, and then the bonus, which is the contact reactivation.
So now we're basically just going over the recap of everything that we've gone over.
That's how we'd be helping you. That's what it would look like. Obviously, we'll go.
So this slide is very important, and I want to actually explain some context on this slide before you even hear what I say. What we are trying to do on the sales call is get the prospect to agree that this is what they need in order to grow their business. Because if they agree on that idea, then it's really hard for them to give you any objections. And what I mean by that is, if they've told us in the discovery that they want to make $200,000 per year, and then we ask them, do you think this can help you get to your goal, which is $200,000 per year? And they say yes. Well, then when we tell them that it's $4 grand a month, even if we told them it was more, even if we told them it was $6 grand a month, then they're going to feel really silly giving you a price objection, because they understand that they just said that it's going to help them get to $200,000 a year. So a lot of the pre-handling of objections before the price happens on this question slide, because they know what they're getting. The big thing that you need them to agree with is that this is what they need and that this is going to help them hit their goals. Because if they say yes to that, then they really can't give you many financial objections, or really any big objections for that matter at all, because they've agreed that this is going to get them, to where they want to go.
With the packages and stuff. But what questions do you have for me so far on everything you've seen?
Where'd the name come from?
Lead Jolt?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's funny. So I have a friend of mine, his name's Judge Graham, and he ran 2 agencies back in the 90s, and I was trying to come up with a name, and we started talking on the phone, and he was like, dude, I really like
Judge, I'm sorry if you're watching this. I don't think they were actually in the 90s. I think it was in 2000s.
elements. So he started a trucking company called Torque, and he was like, it's got to be something like an element, like a Jolt or something like that. And I was like, he suggested Jolt leads, so like Jolt leads, and I was like, I don't really like that as much. Why not just lead Jolt? And I got on GoDaddy, bought the domain. Rest was history. So that's kind of how the name came about. A lot of people don't know that, but yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how are you different than any of the other lead generation companies that I have seen advertised on Instagram and YouTube and literally everywhere?
Yeah, 100%. Mainly with most of the stuff I just showed you, the fact is we're going to book the appointments for you. So like you can get anybody to get you leads. You can go out and spend a couple $100 to get thousands of leads. It's not really just about leads. Like leads are not even half the battle. The fact is we're going to call all the leads for you. And I think that's going to be one of the biggest things that's going to make us different. And it's just like a really good track record. So, you know, as from some of the cases I've just shown you, we got a really, really positive track record. Like I'd say that's the biggest thing. And I think that one of the reasons for that is that we only work with one client per area. So when we're only working with one client per area, we can put a lot of energy, resources, time into that account.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. I don't actually think anybody sells anything unique at all. You know, I mean, there's really just nothing unique under the sun. And so what I do here is I take 3 things that I believe makes us unique. This is a really good way of thinking about if prospect ever asks you this question, they know there's 3 ways. So what did I say? Well, we book appointments for you. We have a strong track record and we do area exclusivity. Are there people out there that book appointments for you? Absolutely. Are there people out there that have a strong track record? Absolutely. Are there people out there who are area exclusive? Absolutely. But it's hard to get all those 3 things together. And really that's how you become unique. So I have this, you know, concept that we teach called the 3 uniques, which are what are the 3 things that each one of them somebody does, but when you do all 3 of them, you know, you become extremely unique. Not saying you're going to do 3 things, you know, that you are the only one that does all 3 of those things, but by doing all of those things, it makes you very unique where there's not much, you know, competition as an example by you doing all of those 3 things at once.
Just to make sure every client that we work with is bringing out super positive results. So I would say that's just a few of the things. Booking the appointments, got a particular track record, working with you exclusively in the area, also client success manager, so on and so forth.
Okay. Is that you with that beard I'm looking at in this? Yeah,
I don't know. I can't see your
article. I don't actually think I have a mess here. Oh, if you Google you.
My name?
I mean, legal.
Yeah, so this is actually a really good point. And I picked this call super randomly, but this is a good point, which is people are going to look you up. People, even if you have a lot of good, you know, pre-call and, you know, good online track record, et cetera, people are still going to look you up. And I learned this very quickly, even on sales calls, you know, people are looking you up. So market leader positioning isn't just before the call, it is during the call and it's sometimes even after the call. So, you know, he's literally on the call doing research and doing due diligence, you know, just to make sure that this is a good opportunity.
The company. The second article is a Yahoo article, and there's a picture of 2 guys. The one on the left kind of looks like you without a beard.
I mean, without a beard, yeah.
A couple years younger.
Yeah, a lot younger.
Interesting. Okay. What else? Well, I mean, just seeing that Yahoo article actually does seem, it's just nice to see as opposed to there's other companies.
Hilarious, right? This is becoming a good explanation for market leader positioning. He's saying, hey, you have a positive article here. You know, that's reassuring. That's good to see. And again, that's all a part of your positioning and how you appear. Notice, this is actually a perfect example of this. Notice how he didn't really care or ask about any of the case studies. You know, he's not asking about the case studies or want to go back to the case studies. He cares more about a third-party source, you know, which is a news article, which is super interesting.
That I've seen, and then you Google them, and like the first 4 or 5 results on Google are like scam. Don't do it. Don't waste your money. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, and I would just say, dude, like I think that the main reason that there's not a lot of that out there on us, if any, is we're really just working with one agent per area. Normally, the clients we work with are just really good fit clients, and clients that we really know we're going to be able to help. And it definitely helps to only work with one person per area, because like what a lot of people do is they'll bring on a bunch of people in one area, and all those people are competing.
So what am I doing right here? I am taking what he just said and I am rationalizing it in his brain. And it's also a benefit of working with us, you know? So I'm taking it a step further, not just saying like, oh yeah, we're great and we do things better than everybody else. I'm trying to explain, hey, because we work with one person per area, that's why we get as good of results as we do. That's why you need to trust our process.
Against each other. And they'll have one, you know, person that succeeds, but then it's like 5 other people that failed because they're making all these clients, you know, basically compete with each other. So yeah, man, I think that we've been able to pull out a pretty good track record because, you know, we're only working with one person in one area. And it's like the results are pretty much guaranteed. So, or it's not pretty much, I mean, we're literally guaranteeing the appointments on your calendar. So there has to be a lot to go wrong for that to not work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like it's gotta be pretty hard to not get results with this. You know what I mean? Like we're guaranteeing you the results. So, and I can promise you the first time we didn't follow through on the guarantee, it would be blasted all across the internet. So we normally follow up on the guarantee pretty well. Like I just refunded somebody 2 days ago. I mean, it happens, right? There's times we don't hit it. But if we do hit it, I mean, it's like, you're going to make money. Like unless you sleep through every appointment that we book you, it's gonna be pretty hard for you to not get results with this.
Well, I'm pretty active all day.
So again, just trying to let him know that the risk of not working with us is higher than the risk of working with us because we reverse the risk entirely.
Okay, pretty much.
Yeah, dude.
Currently ran.
First time we tried to get on the call, you're running and gunning, dude. So I know.
Yeah, I'm really, really sorry about that.
No, don't worry about it, dude. Don't be
I would have to be sitting in front of a computer.
Well, if you weren't sitting in front of a computer, you couldn't be sitting there Googling us, right? You would have to do that while you're driving. That's not very safe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could have done it another time. Okay.
It's all good.
Now, well, let's talk about pricing or how
Yeah.
that's the how
Let's go through
your
that.
part of the money works.
So, I mean, do you feel good about everything I showed you though? Like, does that all line up? Is that what you thought it would be? Like, do you feel good about all that stuff? That's the most important thing for me.
Yep, sounds really good. The fact that you guys actually vet the leads yourselves, it actually helps a lot because that's another thing.
So all the logistical questions we get through first, right? That's where the questions come in. So you can even say something like pricing aside, we'll go through that in a bit. What questions do you have based on everything I've just shown you? And then he's going to ask all the questions. And then there's that final tie down, which is, it can be softer. It can be more direct depending on who you're talking to. This guy, I didn't really want to do anything super direct because we kind of had this kind of laid back tone for the call the entire time. The whole call was very laid back, not super serious. So, me just kind of reading him, I'm like, does this kind of feel like, what you're looking for, based on everything you've seen? Just kind of that final tie down of him basically committing to, yeah, this can help me. This can help me in my goals. It's what I'm looking for, so on and so forth. Because again, that is the most important thing you need them to agree to. The price is secondary to that. I genuinely, this might sound crazy, but that is the primary thing. The price is the secondary thing.
I have friends that a lot of the lead generation companies are pretty much just like they get a hit on their website and then they send that straight out to the agents, and then it's the responsibility of the agent to turn that lead into a deal. But it could just as well be just like a million tactics and just not any real leads or serious people, serious customers or clients. So yep, that is I actually like that.
So yeah, dude, if you feel good about everything, if you feel aligned with the process, let me walk you through the packages and kind of where we'd start you, my recommendation, and then I'm happy to talk through like the ROI, conversion rates, like what you could realistically expect.
Yeah.
There's some like nice projections too. So
actually, if we could do Bothell instead of Linwood, that would be ideal.
I looked at the areas, and I honestly think we'll be able to encompass both. But if you want to stay out of Linwood, we can. But I think we'll be able to target it towards Bothell. But I think we'll be able to encompass Linwood within that campaign, if that makes sense.
So, do you have like Google Maps pulled up right now?
I can do it, no problem.
Yeah, so we might just like go on area.
Yeah. And
again, this is just me pre-handling objections, so we're going to skip this because it's not important.
Investment that we'd be looking at. So if you're ready, we can go for it.
Let's go.
All right, man. So there's 3: silver, gold, and platinum. The first one's gonna be silver. Service fee there is $24.97 per month. The ad spend on top is $30 a day, and we guarantee 30 qualified exclusive appointments in 4 months. That's guaranteed or your money back. The one-time setup fee for that one is $1K. Gold is really our most popular. The service fee there is $44.97 per month. Ad spend is $60 a day on top. Guarantee 60 in 4 months. One-time setup fee there is $2K. Platinum, very few people actually start on platinum. It's normally one that agents will ramp up into. The service fee there is $74.97 per month. Ad spend 90 a day. Guaranteed 90 qualified in 4 months. One-time setup fee is $3K. So that's the 3 options.
So if you can really dial in guarantee, I think this is a great way of doing it, because it makes your minimum package seem very cheap, next to the other packages. But the reason this worked well is because we had multiple tiers of guarantee, and we really knew based off how much money someone spent on ads, what we could actually guarantee them. And so I don't actually recommend for most people doing this 3-pronged kind of pricing approach. It just worked for us in our specific context.
I can waive the setup fees for any package if you do want to go ahead and claim the Linwood area right away, as well as I can throw in the contact reactivation, which is the bonus.
So that's a little bit of external urgency there, right? Is, hey, we're going to waive the one-time setup fee and throw in the contact reactivation if you get started right away. I like the language of right away. I would never say right now. I think that sounds a little bit too pushy. Right away kind of means the same thing. I think it just sounds more low pressure. So that's why I always said right away, small thing. But again, everything's a little bit choreographed, if you will, when you're, running a scalable selling system. So this is the 3-prong kind of approach, and it worked in our specific context.
That's the options. That's what it looked like.
Is that $30 ad? So that the ad spend, is that something that I have to pay for, or is that part of the 20 or whatever the service fee is?
Yeah, so the ad spend's on top. And the reason that we do it that way is because all the leads are yours. So every lead is exclusive to you. Even if we quit working together, you keep all of the leads. So everything that we're putting out on Facebook to generate is yours. So when we run the campaign, even if we quit working together after the 16 weeks, the leads are yours. So it's the service fee is what you're paying us to do all the work, build the campaigns, call all the leads, do everything I showed you. The ad spend is just, to get the campaigns out there, if that makes sense.
So again, anytime somebody asks a question like that, that's kind of like a logistical objection. I don't even think that's an objection. That's just a question. But not only am I answering the question, which a lot of people do, $30 a day, do I have to pay that? Yep. Yeah, you pay it. That's a terrible response. You need to explain to them, yes, they pay it, why they pay it, and then the specifics of this is the fee you pay to us, this is the ad spend you pay. And then, by the way, this is where you're never going to get confusion, right? So if you've ever enrolled someone, for those of you who are a little bit more experienced, you've ever enrolled someone, then you send them the agreement and they're like, I didn't understand about this, or I didn't know I had to pay this or whatever. That's because you've done a bad job on the sales call. So I would never enroll somebody. They would send the agreement and then be like, oh, there's something that John didn't explain to me on the sales call. I didn't know I actually had to pay for this or do this, or I didn't know it was 16 weeks or whatever. Never had those kind of problems because, again, I'm trying to really clearly outline everything on the call and really just also set good expectations.
So essentially, then for you, we need to get you 2 deals out of 30 in your.
So he hasn't said yes yet. The first thing I'm going into is the ROI justification, right? He hasn't said yes yet. He hasn't said he wanted to sign up yet. I am not going to let him sit there and stew. We're going to get straight into the money math.
Very profitable. And I mean, our worst performing clients are doing 20% conversion. So just some basic math, 20%, 30 appointments, 6 deals. So, I mean, even if you did, 1/3 is as bad as our worst performing client, you're still profitable, which is nice. And that's why I think it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, and that's kind of what it would look like. And then anything that we hit above the guarantee. So let's just say we work together, we crush it, and we bring you 50 appointments. You don't pay any extra for extra appointments over the guarantee. It's just icing on top of the cake. So 30 in 4 months is the worst case scenario. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then you don't pay any fees at closing with us. So when you go and close 10 deals, you pay no extra. And you don't pay the 4 months in advance. You pay a month by month.
Month by month. And you don't get any percentage out of the by closing.
No.
Oh. So if we're talking, for example, saying silver to start with, because that
I think silver makes probably the most sense. Start on silver, you get some deals closed. If you want to ramp up, you can. If you don't have to. So I think that's why normally most clients will start off on silver, get it going. And then for you, I mean, even if we break your cap, 1 deal and whole investment's paid for, which is really nice. So
yeah. So with silver, we're talking about actually 3,397.
Yeah, monthly. So yeah. And then if you're just converting alongside worst performing, you're still pulling out 6 deals in 4 months. And so you got to think you'll do 2 of those deals, you make around 10. And then the next 4 you'd be making 20 per deal because we'd help you break cap.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I like your market, dude. You're in a good market. We'd set you up too, where we'd only be booking you in appointments with people that are a little bit more higher income. So it's not like we're going to be bringing you, $400,000.
So we're just kind of pouring it on here, right? I know that he's close. We're just kind of pouring it on and more justification for him to, say yes, because he hasn't said no yet either. And so we're just trying to pour it on and really just get him as clear on why this is a good decision as possible.
Aiming above 700K on the appointments. And we have the ability to do that because we're vetting all the leads out on the phone for you. So that's a good piece of it.
I think I'm actually about to stare at him for a second, ironically. I think we're about to do a little silence here. I think the silence thing is kind of overplayed.
Yep. If I get you onboarded right now, we'd have you on onboarding call by tomorrow, and then we'd basically be off to the races.
No, how's the signing up work?
Okay. If I get you onboarded right now, we'd have you on onboarding call by tomorrow, and then we'd basically be off to the races, getting you rolling. So all I would need from you.
Yeah. So a lot of people want to understand, how do you one call close? And if you notice, it's not really even awkward. I just tell him the, packages. We've built enough urgency for him to want to get started right away. He's literally asking me, how does the sign up work? And so we're not doing it in a way where I'm forcing him or I'm saying you have to sign up right away. I am giving him some urgency of saying we waive the setup fee, and the reactivation campaign is added, but he's asking me if he can sign up right away. And as we kind of get to the end of the call here, one thing that I want to leave you with, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. I believe this is Isaac Newton. So everything that happens to you in a sales call is somehow correlated to something that you have done on that sales call. So if somebody does not want to sign up right away and they really should, and they're a good fit, obviously you're going to have some prospects that are just not a good fit. They probably can't sign up for whatever reason. Not everybody's a good fit. But if you have somebody where you know that they should have signed up, there's something that you've done wrong. If people are one call closing, there is something that you have done correct throughout the call that is making them want to sign up right away. Whether you've created enough urgency, you've really shown them why that's going to help them. As you've seen me do in this call, there's urgency. We've done the discovery. We understand the pain points. We understand his current plans. We understand why it's not working. We've shown him the solution. We've done the ROI justification. all of these things, we've talked about how we're going to launch quickly. We've talked about guarantee. We've, waived the setup fee, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of those things compound into, why would you not want to sign up right away? So you have to understand if people aren't signing up right away, it's not luck. It's likely, the good old every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Get a card on file for the $24.97. We would get your onboarding call scheduled. We'd fill out your onboarding form, and then I'd be out of your hair. It takes about 5 minutes.
Now, since you do the money back guarantee and all that, is there a contract or any legal paperwork that I can hold you accountable
Yeah,
for?
of course. The first thing is we record the call. I'm happy to drop your recording of the call. And then after you get onboarded and stuff, your client success manager will run you through the agreement. So he'll send you an agreement and you guys will take care of it together. And then obviously the guarantee piece is plastered all over our website. So, it's something that we, actually stand behind and, you can hold us accountable to. And like I said, all the calls are recorded for that reason as well.
Yeah.
So again, this is just a contract objection.
The main concern that I have is if you were to disappear on me, I'd have to prove to my bank that I
100%.
my money. And
yeah, I'll just be honest, man. Like we've been doing this long enough where, we're not a little shop anymore. So there's actually stuff at stake to lose and clients and people we provide for, like I have a staff of 18 people now. So I have no reason to do that. And I guess, it is interesting because I just got to tell you, dude, I promise you can trust me. You have my number. I'm not going to do that. And like you said, dude, I think you should trust your intuition on this one. You saw by the ads that we're not the typical old scammy gurus. We're good people. We stand behind what we do. And dude, at the end of the day, it's not fair for me to even want to keep your money if we don't get you the results you're looking for, So that's kind of how the whole thing works. And
these are silly trust-based objections. These are always relatively easy to answer. Like, yeah, dude, I'm not going to take your money and run off. And even if I did, you could just call your credit card company and say that, you had a call and we ran off with your money.
Getting up and rolling. Takes about 5 minutes. And dude, I know we'll crush it for you. You're in a good market.
And so don't give up here, right? When he says, can I have the agreement? A lot, this is what you have to understand. The smoke screen objection is so real. And a lot of people here send me the agreement and then they think in their mind, oh, that means he's ready to sign up. Well, he said, send me the agreement. And then when we chunk down, there's actually a big underlying thing, which is he's nervous that he might pay. And then we run off, right? Again, prospects really have to trust you and you have to do a great job at allowing them to trust you. And this happens throughout the entire process from before you ever even speak to them to when you're, booking the appointment and they're looking you up and then you're having the call and so on and so forth. And so you have to really understand, a lot of people would have taken that as they want the contract. It's good to go. Oh, we closed them. Well, no, you haven't. Until you've collected payment, until they've signed their agreement, they are not closed. And so, the way that we did it was we collected payment, we did the onboarding stuff, and then they signed the agreement after. That was just our standard operating procedure. And we knew that if we sent the agreement, there could be a lot of things pop up. They can have questions and there's going to be back and forth and, all these different things. So we wanted to get the ball rolling.
You're going to get your business up and rolling. You want to make $200K this year. And I think we got a really good plan to get you there. So.
I think I'm just going to sit here and stare at him for a second.
Sorry, I'm
man. You're my last. It's 9 a.m. It's 9 p.m. over here. So you're my last call of the night, brother. We can.
That's what it is, dude. It's 9 p.m.
Really sorry.
Okay,
no, you're fine, dude. Don't.
I feel terrible.
We're good. You just want no, dude. Don't feel terrible. We're good. Everything's good. I'm trying to help you make a good decision. I know we can help you. So, dude, you take as much time as you need to process. And we went through a lot of stuff. So, yeah, dude, you're good, man. We're good.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's. I still probably was hungover. In fairness.
That was something I was going to ask and I forgot.
About the appointments piece, maybe about the client success manager. That's normally one of
I'm even now prompting him with questions that he might want to ask.
Big question we get a lot. We talked about the 15 to 25 mile radius. University piece makes sense. We already carved out a really good area, so that's easy. The ads are branded towards you. I think we covered that already, but every ad is coming from your Facebook page. So to the clients, in Linwood, in that area.
Again, we're just restating benefits.
Although we're fulfilling all the work.
I know we have a good offer, so I can just restate what we do and how we do it. And that alone should sell him, right? This is another big piece. You have to describe your offer in a way that the prospect actually understands the benefits, right? So if you just sell AI automation, you can't just say, hey, we're going to automate stuff for you. You have to explain the benefits of what comes from automating stuff for you. What time do you get back? How much money do you make because things are automated? Then there's even more and more levels deeper to that. And so we're just trying to restate, the features and the benefits.
We're invisible, like legal is invisible. It's all, Dan Garcia or Dan with Windermere or Dan Garcia Realtor or whatever, branding you want to set up.
Actually, I pretty much already have all of my branding. Like I have my business Instagram and business Facebook, and all that stuff's already set up.
Yeah, we would just pick it up right there. I mean, we would be running it from that, so it makes it easy. That's a beautiful website though, isn't it? It's a nice looking website. You like it?
Your website?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like it. I was looking at it.
I can see the reflection on the TV.
Oh, yeah. I have my laptop down here, and I have an ultra wide
That's cool.
here on top.
When you were doing the ops manager, did you work from home?
I did most of my work from home, although I did have to. So I guess it was hybrid. I guess I don't know. I wouldn't even call it that. So like all my morning stuff that I had to do, like setting the routes and like looking at volumes and all that stuff that we had to do. So it was a last mile logistics company, so delivery. So all of that stuff. That's kind of how that worked. Okay.
The thing that you're wearing, I'm gonna order one of those.
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, I've got, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you, they are not comfortable. I really can, because they just. Oh man.
You're making a good decision, so I'm excited for you.
Okay, so we're just walking him through.
I'll budge.
All right, brother. Well, you're making a good decision, so I'm excited for you. I'll walk through the onboarding with you, man, and we can get you all squared away. And yeah, just give me 1 second here. I will.
Yeah, so that's basically it. And then we collect payment, we do onboarding, and we get him started. So really, the main takeaway here is when you have a scalable selling system in place, it is much easier to get on calls and consistently close. You're not really seeing me do many fancy things on that call or really do any fancy objection handling or word tracks or anything crazy. It's a pretty easy process to run through, whether you're hungover or it's 9 p.m. at night or whatever the case may be. When I work one-on-one with agency owners at agencyclients.com, really what I do with them when I work with them one-on-one is just download the exact systems into their agencies. Whether they're brand new, they're just getting started, they don't have any clients yet, or they're experienced, they have some clients, they're just having trouble scaling. I give them one foundation, 5 specific pillars, which are just reverse engineering exactly what I did, to take my agency from zero, starting at a complete standstill at zero, to $2 million per year in just 10 months. So we lay the foundation of market leader positioning, so prospects actually trust them before they ever even speak to the prospects. The hybrid offer, which really allows you to have something that not only makes your clients money, but saves them time. A demand engine, so you have consistent appointments coming through on the calendar day after day, week after week. The scalable selling system, again, this is just one piece of what I build one-on-one with my clients at agencyclients.com. And you just saw the scalable selling system in action. Assembly line fulfillment. So you have to realize this client that you just watched me sign up here, I did none of the fulfillment. All I did was sell this client. I didn't do any meetings with the client. I didn't have any check-ins. I didn't do any support. I didn't run any of the services for the client. I had assembly line fulfillment happening where all of the work was being done without me being there. And this allowed me to close literally as many clients as I wanted to. And then what that leads to is the 5th pillar that I work with my clients on, which is founder removal, and really allowing you as the founder to take a step away from the business and be able to focus on the things that you want to focus on. And what a lot of people don't understand about my agency journey is I actually stopped taking sales calls for about 1.5 years. And I was kind of bored, but I also knew that I wanted to lead from the front for my sales team. So what you're seeing here is actually when I got back on the phones, and I was a little bit rusty, as I've admitted a few times, in this video. So if you want to work one-on-one with me to scale your agency past $30,000 per month, again, I can't stress this enough. If you're a beginner and you're just getting started, or if you have an agency, you have some clients already, but you're just struggling to scale, click the first link in the description, agencyclients.com. Would love to learn more about you and your agency or what you're trying to build and see if we can help you. I will see you over at agencyclients.com, and maybe I'll see you on the next one. Make sure to do all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed. And by the way, as a little PS, just as a thank you for making it to the end of the video, if you want to see 10 more calls just like this, so you can see the scalable selling system in action, just DM me the word Sales Vault on Instagram at John Danes, and I'll send them over for free. Thank you much. Love you lots. I'll see you in the next one.